What if you could sit down once a week with a colleague who's a flat-out warrior? This colleague wasn't a stud in dental school. He struggled. He returned to practice in his hometown, an area once labeled by USA Today as the second worst place to live economically in the United States. And this very same colleague went on to establish an historically successful general practice known worldwide. What if you knew someone that wanted to take you by the hand and show you everything you need to know, from treatment planning to leadership, to maximizing your journey in dentistry, or just life? You ready to be inspired? Welcome to the Lionhearted. Hi everybody, Dr. Steve Rasner here, and welcome to the Lionhearted. Hey, how did you like the new intro? Do you remember me saying at other podcasts over the last year? If you're an avid listener, I know you'd remember this. I told you I just one day got tired of hearing that voice I paid for. It started to sound like a phony to me. And in the course of my days and my weeks, I got to be honest with you, sometimes it's pretty overwhelming. I wonder why I do all the things that I do. But I guess it brings me a good return, happiness. Is why I do them, to be honest. But I started to hate that, and I couldn't find time. And that is goal setting, by the way. It was a lot easier than I thought it was going to be. And every time I went to think I was going to do it, I talked myself out of it. So part of what we're going to talk about, and I have a really good set of podcasts coming up for you. I've talked about a lot of things over the last couple years. I didn't realize I've been doing this since 2018. And whether you believe me or not, I really do think about what it is I want to say before I come on the air. And I think I've come up with a lot of niche things that are going to make you look at yourself and ask yourself simple questions. Are these the reasons I may not be where I want to be? In case you're wondering, I know a couple of months ago I went live from Central Africa. Well, tonight it's live from Portland, Oregon, which I've never been to before. And if I don't cut a podcast tonight in this hotel room that you're looking at, by the way, sorry for doing it from my bedroom, but that's what a hotel room is. So you hear sirens out in the street and whatever's going on out there. But that's not going to take away from the qualities I'm going to give you over the next several podcasts. And I'm calling this Qualities of a Lionheart Dentist. And the first one I want to give you, to me, is the most important one. I want you to really think about what it is I'm saying tonight. Because I put some thought into what order I would put these things together. And I've got these qualities that I want you to ask yourself, is that you? Because they're common qualities of successful people, period, not just dentists. And you very much have the ability to own these qualities, but maybe you get sidetracked by this thing called life, and you get into distractions and things that don't allow you to be your best. And I can talk about this first one with absolute authority, unfortunately. And the first one, and as always, Steve Rasner never knows exactly where he's going. So I don't know whether I'll get two done tonight. And I'll stop them when I think they don't have the steam they need to influence you. And before I give you the first one, I do want to tell you again, I'm very excited because I'm getting a lot of traction literally from around the globe on doing a live Lionhearted in 2023. And I'm getting a lot of emails from lots of you that are excited. And I think it would be cool. Trust me, I did this. It wasn't called Lionhearted. I had a company called Realizing the Dream. I owned that name. How Martin Luther King could not own that name, I have no idea, but I owned it. And I kept it. That was the name of my company. It still might be. I don't remember. We call it the Rasner Institute now. But it was Realizing the Dream. And I did live lectures for a year. And I'm telling you, they were successful. I'm like 700 people. And I don't know if that's even a possibility or even my goal. I really don't think it is. I think my goal is to have common thinking people in my industry in a room with me for 2 days. And I assure you, I do things pretty first class. I'm just trying to figure out the logistics right now. There'd have to be some breakouts. It would definitely be something you want to bring your team to. And the days of symposiums like that, they used to be very frequent, but they seem to be long gone. And I feel so responsible when I speak to you, even through this vehicle, that if I was live, I assure you it would be a first-class affair. And I got to figure out how to make it affordable and still make it worth it to me. But it would be something you absolutely would not want to come alone to. And I also got to think about, you can give me feedback if you want, do I want to have a top-notch clinical speaker? I want to have breakout sessions where your financial coordinator, would be taught by my Michelle. Like, how do we get paid up front? What is the verbiage and language that we really use? How do we screen patients on the phone? What do we say to a patient that we all get, including me, that says that they're out of network? I mean, everybody's out of network with me. So how do we navigate ethically through that and still have the patient want to come in? And by the way, it's fine with us if they don't want to come in. How do we run great meetings? And that's a big part of you being successful. How do we make sure a patient understands their treatment plan? How do we minimize those red flag patients that you wish you never took on? I have them, man. And I'm better at it than I've ever been at eliminating them. But, that can't all come from me on a main podium. But marketing, what's the best, just everything that makes up a quality, enduring, successful practice. Probably I could have it just on how to get to a fee-for-service practice. But I mean really how to get there and how to keep it that way. Remind you, in a town, everybody is insurance. It's not like everybody's fee-for-service. And I am just one of the 7 practices in a community that does that. I mean, that's a hard road to take and navigate. So I could teach you that. And I can inspire the heck out of you because I'm good at that. And my very first quality, so keep giving me feedback on that, guys. I really have heard from many of you. There's a lot I have to do. I got to find a venue. Should I make it in Philadelphia because it'd be easier for you to fly in and fly out, as opposed to my office where many of you have been to. And my office wouldn't be big enough probably. And by the way, there's not going to be 700 people. If there's 10 offices, 20 offices at the most, it would be worth it. But I assure you, I'll put every ounce of my soul in it so you will think it was worth it. Because I wouldn't be doing it for just money, I assure you. And my first quality that I want you to think and compare and say, am I that guy? When Steve Rasner says that, or gal. Number one is, Lionhearts never quit. They don't give up. I am the king of that. I've teased you many times through these podcasts through the years and told you how many things I've had to overcome. I think I shared with you lung cancer, and I don't exaggerate anything, because then why should I even be in front of you? If I have to exaggerate to command your attention, then I shouldn't be doing this. And so when I tell you this is the end lung cancer, that's not even in my top 3 things of what I've been through. And I'm not going to do it right now. But tonight is kind of an introduction to these qualities. So Google it. Well, never quitting. I did not invent a lot of these things, but I didn't steal them from somebody else either. They're qualities that I was fortunate to have. I don't know why I'm like the way I am, but I do know this. In my lecture history, you would hear me say that no one's coming to rescue you. Now, maybe that's not true for you. It's true for most of us. Most of us don't have a parent or rich aunt or uncle that's going to leave them life-altering millions of dollars to change their life. And things happen, man, that are just heartbreaking. Health things are going to happen to some of you or to somebody you love. And they are devastating. They can be. And you can tell my voice right now because I can hear it, that I know what I'm talking about. And when that happens to you, if curling up in a fetal position or doing toxic things like alcohol and drugs to escape helped, maybe I'd have a less of an argument for what I'm about to say, but all I care about is getting to a better place when something bad happens to me, and a lot has happened, to make my situation better. And all of us have that ability. We do. So when you're in a situation that is just dire, like no one, not your parents, really sometimes not even your significant other, can really help you, it's got to come from a never quit within you, fighting warrior, Lionhearted quality that most of you have it. I read something really interesting online recently, and it was this guy that was teaching you what to do. I don't even know why I received this because I'm not in any group like this, but I think it was a Marine that was talking about all the terrible things we all hear about, and it was reactive to the Tennessee teacher that was recently murdered. And a lot of things spun off, like, what can you do to try to minimize those things from happening? And I don't know who this guy was because I really kind of skimmed it. But he really wrote some interesting things. He said, I know it's not the nature of humans to be predatory, but that's exactly what you have to be if you're ever in that situation. And he was very, very specific about doing other things, of course, to avoid being, like, how about if you're a jogger and you wear headphones? Well, it's hard to be alert. It's hard you're setting yourself up if that's what you do. And you can call it paranoid, but if you live in the world I live in, there's a lot of things going on more than ever that didn't seem to be. So I'm saying, when I say to you, it's within you to be a Lionheart, to be a warrior. And if you think like you might be really shy and have a that kind of a demeanor. But unfortunately, some of us come into fight or flight situations in our lives. And this guy wrote an article and he detailed always being aware of your surroundings, no matter what. What would be your exit strategy? And doing everything you can possibly do to never become immobile, he said, and to never allow to be taken to a secondary place from wherever. I know this sounds crazy talk tonight on the Lionhearted, but my point is there are people, you've heard stories of a grandmother that lifted a heavy object off of their grandchild, or I've heard incredible things. Well, you don't even have to do that. I'm just telling you never to quit. And don't tell me that you don't have it within you, that you're too beaten down, that you're too broke, that you're beaten down from well, let's say that, from an insurance-driven career in your practice that you didn't see coming. It wasn't meant to be like this. No, you can beat that. You just have to take it to heart that you want it bad enough. I hope I'm connecting with one of you. One of you out there right now is in a place you don't want to be. Steve Rasner's been there. On, unfortunately, multiple levels, from financial difficulties to health difficulties to the loss of people in my life I loved dearly. And worse, other things, maybe I'll share if we have the live event, which we're going to have. And I'm telling you, those of you who can see me in the mirror, in the video right now, or those of you that can hear my voice, I had a lot of people that helped me, but it was only me. It would not have happened if it wasn't my refusal to not quit. I mean it. And so I'm starting with that one because there's so much potential for negativity in obstacles in our path to just get to a place called happiness, right? So never, never quit. Number 2, and I do this one, so I know some of you do it. Stop comparing yourself to others. Let me really focus on this one for a minute. If you went back to my dental class, I'm sure most people either didn't know who Steve Rasner was or certainly never thought I was going to be anything. And that's because I really did struggle in dental school. Had I stayed in dental school, if that was a thing, or I stayed in the community of the people I went through 4 years of school with, and it wasn't their fault, it was my fault. It's just people, if you're in a circle that anybody's toxic to you, I would caution you and maybe softly advise you to start eliminating those types of people in your circles. People that don't think you are a superstar or you're special or something. People that make you feel that foreign. I mean, I had people in my life that sometimes I just can't get around them. Did you ever have anybody like that? That when you talk to them and you've met them, you can just palpate it. They're not respectful of you, and they make you feel worse about you somehow when you're in their company. Eliminate them. You got one life, man. And if I'm telling you right now, if I judged what I should be based on my class rank, nobody would have ever heard of Steve Rasner. And I would not have come close to making the contributions in my community as a person. I mean, I got a United States Congressional Award in 2000. That was 20 years ago because I had done so many community-oriented things with the mentally challenged community, with poor people, homeless people, women with drug problems that were single parents, starting an after-school tutoring program in a church, a big church, an African-American church, doing all of those things. And I didn't even know there was such a thing as a United States Congressional Award. But I would never, ever have been able to do those things if I looked at myself, quite honestly, at the way that probably most of my classmates look at me. You know what it's called? There's a hypothesis. I was a psychology major in college, and there's something called the self-fulfilling prophecy. So when people treat you as if you're always a blank up, a screwball, average, mediocre, whatever, you tend to validate that. Which reminds me of a famous saying of Eleanor Roosevelt that no one can make you feel inferior without your consent. So I really mean that. One of the qualities of a lion-hearted, successful dentist or any person, obviously, we both understand that Lionheart could be compared as a warrior. You always hear me use that word because I really do think I'm that. And I think a lot of you are that. I've met a lot of you now. And, I've met guys that came over here as non-dentists from other countries, didn't even speak the United States language. And less than 10 years later, they are successful entrepreneurs or successful dental professionals. They had to go through quite a bit more than I did. So it doesn't matter. And by the way, when I start my lectures, every single lecture I've ever done, whether I'm teaching, I shouldn't say everyone, but most of them, whether I'm teaching how to remove teeth, GBR, how to do implant dentistry, in the beginning, I'll often say this. I'll say, you don't have to be a superstar to be a superstar. You just have to be willing to outwork everyone else. And when I say that, it's because I believe in my heart that statement's about me. And even if I did all that work, and I know what I'm saying tonight really relates to many of you, that even if I did all the work that I did, took all the CE I took, which is a lot, and I stayed around a group of people that I felt and let them in my circle, right? That gave that aura, and you know what I'm talking about, that they're better than me. And I let that be my bar of who I am. It would not work. I would not be Steve Rasner. So tonight is the first of a few of what I'm going to call qualities of a true Lionheart. And the first was that you never quit. What are you going to do if you quit? I'll tell you what you're going to do. You want to hear my truth? You're going to waste time because you're not going to quit. Most of you are not going to quit. You're going to think you're going to quit, and then you're going to go on the downtrend for a year or 2 or 5 or the rest of your life until something else makes you get out of dentistry or makes you get out of whatever you're doing. So why waste that time? So you should consider me a springboard to making you think about things. And I remember, man, I remember laying there by myself at some low points thinking, because what happens is in the beginning of a bad thing in your life, of course, your close friends and your family rally around you. That's what has happened. It does. And you're not alone. But time moves on. And everybody has their own things to get through. And in a matter of not so long, you'll find yourself way more by yourself than you were at the beginning of this obstacle you're trying to overcome. And so in the end of this day, it's up to you to get back to where you need to be. Honestly, Google never quit. I haven't done it. You'll probably see a book in there by Vince Lombardi, the iconic coach of the Green Bay Packers. It just moves me, this kind of thoughts. And you and I chose a tough profession, man. It's just hard. It's hard because everybody takes insurance, so you're expected to take it by the patient. You're expected to take a 40% discount. It's hard because patients can be heartbreakingly fickle. It's hard because what we do is hard. You're working in a small, incredible, delicate area of the human body. So it's not your imagination. I've said this before. It is hard. And there's times when it's overwhelming. And you have to remember that I just have to work harder, man. I just have to get better at what I'm not good at right now. And the guy leading you down this path, me, is here to tell you that you can do it. I mean, I did it. And I'm not a natural. I wasn't that guy in your class that carved out a first molar in 30 minutes and it looked just amazing. I remember that moment. I remember thinking, are you kidding me? So the trial started with never quit. And then I said, and stop comparing yourself to others is number 2. And get away from toxic people. And I want to be clear about it if any of my classmates are listening. That wasn't your fault. It was mine. If you set your boundaries because you're around people, whether it's classmates, for those of you in school still, or your group of friends. Look, I was that guy. I remember on the ride up when I finally was a professional and I had an income and going to the parties. You remember the parties, right? Where somebody's having a house party and all of a sudden you're with these people and you're dressed in suits. You're not in college anymore and whatever. The guys are smoking cigars and drinking expensive scotch and talking a lot of BS, man. I was never interested in that circle. I'd hang out with the kids if there were kids there. You got to be in a circle of people that respect you and care about you. And they're out there. And maybe you have them already. And if you do, you're a leg up. And one more thing about comparing. Don't use social media. Facebook is a crock of shit. Yeah, I said it. Why am I on it? Because I have a very professional life. And I put so much work into it that it's worked for me. You'll never see me post personal things on Facebook. Take a look. And the other one, Instagram, is 10 times worse. And I know some of you are superstars on Instagram or certainly know people. I don't even get it. I don't know how you can post before a case, after cases, and not show the gingival margins, because the gingival margins and the tissue is the absolute barometer of how well you did your restoration. It's a joke. Wait, man, all the burn-up signs, you're on fire, you're amazing, you bro. Shut the F up. Get on my nerves. Anyway, I hope I didn't go overboard on this tonight. Check out my courses next year, by the way, at the Rasner Institute. Those of you that are interested in the surgeries, and we'll continue to work. I only say that because I had such a waiting list for the ones coming up in the next 6 weeks. I mean, it's the most I've ever had. I appreciate you guys. I feel from your emails that I'm connecting with you. Tonight, I might have gone over the top. I don't know. I mean, I even got emotional at one point tonight. But I did it. And I'll see you next week on the Lionhearted.